So looking at the numbers, if we look at capital to begin with, you can see in 9-10 we estimate we'll have invested 20 billion for the year. And you can see the intensity in 10-11 and 11-12 remains, 22.8 billion and 21.9 billion in those 2 years. And that totals 93.4 billion over a 5-year period. So really significant investment in capacity growth and in efficiency. In the graph below, you can see that in the first 2 years, substantial part of the capital is in providing capacity growth. Of the rest, we're shown here as replacement, but that doesn't do justice to what's happening. Where it's being replaced, the replacement is with modern equipment, with better capacity, greater efficiency, and lower operating costs. So it makes a huge difference in the effectiveness of the business. Something fresh for Transnet, and that is the private sector participation. And as I have mentioned before, we have categorized opportunities for private sector participation into 3 broad categories. The one is if customers want to expand capacity, but it's not core to our business. Transnet doesn't want to stand in the way of that expansion, and so would work with the private sector to enable that to happen. Whereas where we might well not own the rolling stock that's necessary, for example, it could well be owned by the private sector participant. The other is if the investment is highly specialized for only one customer, for example, like a chemical wagon. There we already have initiatives in place with a certain customer where they own the rolling stock themselves, and the railway operates the business for them. And the third category, which is an exciting category going forward, is that where the expansion is so big and the investment required is very large, it's really mega investment, that it would not be possible for Transnet and possibly even our customers to be able to make that investment. But it's a very good, it's a really good business case, profitable projects going forward with significant margins. That would be an ideal private sector participation. And already we can see going forward that if a decision is made to expand coal exports to the level I've been talking about, over 90 million tonnes, and to expand iron ore exports over 60 million tonnes, manganese over the current 5 million tonnes to, say, 12, those investments are really significant and would seem to be beyond the capacity of Transnet on its own to fund. And so we are looking now at establishing a framework through our governance structures to enable us to start planning those and enabling private sector investment therein. And each will be different. The specific participation, the nature will be different. The whole drive, though, is Transnet is determined to enable superior economic growth through providing logistics capacity ahead of demand.